Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Fat Real Estate Checks. My name is Marco Kozlowski. I'm here with Gabriela and Francesco Galuccio. We are here for your pleasure and amusement today. This is all about giving you as much value as possible. If you are not familiar with Big Fat Real Estate Checks, simply listen to the first 10 episodes. You'll understand more about asset-based lending, how we buy assets using none of our own money, using skills, very, very good skills, instead of our own money in order to acquire assets that give us passive income. And we're always delighted to give you as much value as possible. As I think I just said that. I'm repeating myself now that I'm in my 50s. Repeating myself, said that again, repeating myself over and over again. We are going to talk today about actually an email, a direct message actually that came in on a person that has a property that has a significant amount of equity. Very low interest rate, just under 3% interest rate, which in these times is going to be almost half of prime. Actually, 2.79, I think, is what the message was. And bought the property with a family member. Family member is now out of the picture, and has this burden of this mortgage, which is I would say 2/3 of what this person makes. So the mortgage payment is very daunting, meaning very little left for food and, taking care of yourself and driving and all the other things that cost money. And as the taxes go up, the fear is not be able to pay the taxes on the house and lose the farm. And they asked if we could give some insight on how we would handle the situation. So I'm going to make the assumption, and I think I read between the lines that credit would be a problem since their debt ratio would exceed the capacity to refinance, to pull out a few $100,000. I think it was $300,000 in equity in the property. So it's a pickle that maybe many are in. In fact, I had a conversation with a student with a very similar case. Where this person had actually refinanced their home and used the interest from the loans to actually pay all her expenses. She lives for free almost, and she got advice to sell her property and had about the same amount of equity in it. And my question was, why would you want to sell a property if you're living for free? And because once you have the cash, you're just going to live on it, and now you don't have any equity. And you don't have a free house. So if you have a roof over your head, that's the most important thing, because it's pretty stressful when you sell things that you are living in. So let's try to brainstorm a little bit on how we can help this human. I know we all have different ideas. So who wants to go first?
Well, let's just go over the facts of what they can and can't do. So that person has a house that has significant equity. So the first thought process is, okay, if I sell this and I get all this equity out, which is approximately 300,000, that's great. But now where are you going to live? You got to figure that out. So are you going to rent? And our understanding is that rent in that area is going to be costing more than what they're paying for the mortgage right now. So in theory, that doesn't make sense. And then if they, the other solution is if they sell and rent, that's impossible. If they don't sell, then they can move out, rent at that house. And then again, they still have the problem of having to go somewhere else. So bottom line is, it sounds like selling. And if you sell and you got to buy another home that's cheaper, then you're going to have to get a new mortgage at the current interest rates, which are extremely high, or much higher than what they're paying right now. So again, it just sounds like selling the house in the current context of that person's situation doesn't make a lot of sense. And as a sidebar, I understand that a lot of people are trying to sell houses or are thinking of selling their homes because they're seeing that there's the interest rates have skyrocketed, which means that house prices are going to be, being pressured down. But I guess the bottom line is if you don't have to sell because you don't need to sell, i.e., you're not moving out, you're not downsizing, you don't really need to get out, you're going to stay in your house for the next 10, 15 years, it doesn't really make sense to just take advantage of a market high unless you have plans of doing something else with it that doesn't involve you buying another house. So in context, I think I'm going to cover the fact that basically selling doesn't sound like it's a good option for this person.
Well, if there's no credit, or their income is not able to support the current property that they have now, and prices have gone up since that purchase happened, they're going to get less of a house with all the equity gone anyway with a higher payment. So the numbers speak for themselves. Our opinion doesn't really matter. It's if you look at the actual numbers of what's happening, and even if let's say the person got a rental amount for the exact same amount in a worse neighborhood, since rents are higher, that means the neighborhood would change. Then she would dip into the $300,000 in equity that was there. That's before commissions. We're assuming it's 300, and cash by itself, once you chew down it's gone. So I think an investment opportunity to take it so that capital is working for her and have money work for you instead of you work for money is really the whole point of this whole podcast. Is if there is cash, you don't use it, you use it to make you money.
Correct.
That's what you should be doing, which encompasses what you said. Frank, what's your take on that?
Listen, I know we're up where, well, I'm sure in many areas. Another possibility, I know she's leveraged out at 65% or whatever, but she could look into private lenders. And there's a big industry for second mortgages that will give up to 90% or even higher of the equity. And given that the house is worth more, that could be a possibility where she can leverage some of that equity and either take that money and rent somewhere else, or turn the house into an investment opportunity where she is renting a portion or a floor of the house. There may be some work involved to make it a legal apartment, or just do Airbnb like a lot of other people do if it's in a desirable location. People are willing to spend some money on a weekly or even a monthly basis, which will help subsidize her mortgage payment and still be able to live in the house that she lived in for all these years. So two possibilities: leverage the equity that you have with a private, maybe a financial institution won't give you that loan to value, or turn it into an income property.
The challenge with a refi, even if it's at a decent rate, let's call it 8%, which would be unlikely, with the impossibility of her maybe qualifying for a regular mortgage. I think 8% would triple her existing note payment. So tapping into the equity, I think, unless it was a really, really good interest rate, might actually hurt more than it helps. Although you do have the cash, but that cash would need to work for her at a higher rate than what she's borrowed it for.
Yeah,
so,
and there can be no mistakes, because if
Yeah,
there are,
and-
then the default kicks in, right? So,
Right. Yeah. And I would not, if someone is not savvy financially, I think that would be leading down the path of no return. And
Correct.
we want that for somebody, but having a refi is definitely a plan to pull out some equity to make it into so if you want to borrow enough to put all the items in to make it into a Airbnb, so you can get, as Frank said, some revenue from different rooms. And if you have zero cash, then you can get a small second. Let's call it 50,000. Even at 50,000 at 10% would cost you $5,000 a year, about $400 a month. You can definitely make more than $400 a month. Your monthly payment is lower and it's designed to make you money. Debt should make you money. For every dollar that you go into debt, you should make $2. I never borrow unless I can make money on the debt. Period.
Yeah, and forgive me, that's what I was implying, because I did that myself. Took out a line of credit. Yes, I'm paying interest on it, but I used that money in another vehicle per
investment.
se to make
Sure.
more money than I'm actually paying out. So, or use that money, like you said, to rehab or whatever you need to do to make it a legal apartment or to make it into an Airbnb. Use that to which you're investing, right? You're getting that money back, or at least that's the plan.
So taking all this, I think the best solution, or at least, and I guess this is an opinion, right? At the end of the day, that person's going to have to make their own decision. We're just spitting out potential solutions here based on a scenario, but it feels like maybe given, the low interest rate that you want to keep in place, and that you can't move, you can't really move into somewhere else unless you get rent and then have to somehow make sure that the whole house is rented. Your two options could be also to either, Airbnb some of the rooms in the house and have that as supplemental income, or coming in to basically negate your mortgage payment. So reduce your mortgage payment. So say you're renting, if similar properties rent for, what is it? Say it's like, $1,000 a month.
Let's call it $2,000.
Yeah. If everything rents for $2,000 a month, then you'd be able to rent a room possibly for, $500, $600, maybe even half $1,000 a month.
Maybe $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then that would kind of cut your expenses in half on the mortgage, and would allow you to breathe better and still keep the house and move forward. So presumably when that family member was living there, you were sharing expenses. So the idea is to recreate that same scenario as if that person hadn't left. But yes, you're bringing in potentially a stranger, someone that you have to vet. So that's kind of the risk that goes against this. But you can either do it Airbnb, which is on either a weekly basis or a short-term basis, which would likely bring you a little bit more revenue, or you can just bring in a, what you want to call a roommate, I guess, to a certain extent, and get a little bit more money, but stable over a month. So less money monthly, but more stable over the year. And that would give you almost like a second revenue source. So I think from the I guess the information, the data that we have, this kind of sounds like these are good two options, but again, you have to be willing to live with someone else.
Yeah, but the key is with getting into the least debt possible, make as much revenue as possible without it chewing up as much of your time as possible, using the existing resources that are on the board. My suggestion would be do any of those things. Based on that, selling an asset that has very low interest, unless it's absolutely necessary to pull that equity out to live on it. And I mean, absolutely necessary. It's called asset rich, cash poor. I know a lot of us have been in that situation a few times in our lives. That's one of the reasons why I focus so much on cash flow. There's another option that you can layer within that. I'm not saying it's a supplement to that, but definitely educate yourself on how to generate income using and leveraging other people's money. Learn how to lend and protect yourself when you're doing transactions, either in the buying side or the lending side. It sounds like if your mortgage payment is most of your paycheck, then I would definitely look at ways of supplementing your income, either with the program that I put together that is designed to do that, or others, whoever you feel will be a good fit for you. I'm not a fit for everyone. I that would definitely be on the list of things to add to that. I would layer it. I just wouldn't have one solution. I would have as many solutions as possible that you dovetail within each other. So if one doesn't work well, you have others. But I think it's a common problem that more and more people are going to have as the economy shifts and taxes rise, as inflation chews down your paycheck. It's going to be harder and harder for you to make ends meet. And you really have to take a look at what pieces are on the board and how you can really maximize each asset that you have. Time is one that you have. The house that you have is one. Money that you can get from the empty spaces that are there. Educating yourself is definitely an asset. Knowledge is a huge asset, because once you learn something, you can't unlearn it. And the more you use all the tools that are available to you, the easier your life will be, the less stress your life will be.
No, I think that's well said. Either, and it is not a unique situation. A lot of people are going to be facing this where, listen, inflation's going higher than what people are earning, or their modest increases if you're working for an employer. So a lot of people are going to be in the situation, and either like you said, you're going to have to either make more money somewhere, and getting a second job for some people are like, no way, not going to do it. Or maybe some people already have a second job, and getting a third job is out of the question. So the smart way is look to see how you can have others subsidize your lifestyle. And I think we gave a few good examples here without knowing all the details of her scenario. But for the most part, that's where I would start looking to see on how to leverage. And like you said, Marco, have at least two options on that. So if you're making money and leveraging the asset that you do have by renting it by the room or a floor, whatever the case is, and with that extra money or whatever, or even if you do get a private second, if you want a private second, just make sure whatever you use that money for, it's actually making you money to do that. So yeah, some good. It's a shitty position to be in, but there's solutions, and you just got to look which one's going to fit best.
Necessity is the mother of invention. So this might be the best thing that ever happened to you, in that you now have to creatively find a way out. And that's exactly how I started. I needed money, had to figure it out, and got real creative real fast. And
the good news is they already have equity. It's not like they're coming from a place where, I mean, we've all been in the situation with zero equity and have to work our way out. And it's not always fun. You're going to make decisions that maybe are not what your preference would be at that time, but you'll figure it out and make the best decision for you and your family.
And it's everything is temporary, right? The struggle is going to be temporary. And as you start playing with different solutions, you'll see that, hey, I can actually do this over and over again. Now I'm supplementing my income to a point where now I want to buy another house, and it's not 65% of whatever you're earning. It's 10% of what you're earning. Earn more, and your percentages of expenses change real quick. Mm-hmm. That's the easy answer.
Actually, yeah, that's another solution is,
right.
We don't know where they're coming from, what their income source is, but getting more income is another solution in theory.
That's the best solution.
That's right.
Just earn more money, but it's very easy for us to just earn more money. Now fuck off. It's easy to say.
I
right.
I agree.
It's not what none of us are saying that at all. I'm just saying
but it is a solution.
Yeah. That's the best solution, honestly, is find a way to make more money. And leveraging other people's money is, in my opinion, the best way of doing that, using assets. But again, we're biased on that because we all enjoy passive income. But if you want to learn how to do that, we'd be happy to help you, or whatever passions you have. Real estate isn't my passion. It's people, and I'm in the people business. That's that. Well, I think that's good enough for now. Appreciate the outreach. I invite anyone that's listening to outreach as well. If you have a pickle, you have something going on, or you want us to put a podcast together on something, we'd be delighted to do that. Kind of fun, actually, to have done this for the first time. So thank you for that. And let the numbers decide at the end of the day. And it's not necessarily our opinion that matters. It's what do the numbers say? We're all a slave to the numbers. And if the numbers pencil, then it works out. And I hope we were useful. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Like us, love us, share us, subscribe, add a comment. Always looking for more. And you guys are the best. Without you, we'd just be talking into space, and no one wants us to take medication again. We don't want that. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Frank, Gabe, brothers from another mother, listener, thank you so much. Love you a long time. And we'll see you on the next podcast. Bye for now.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.